In Charlotte, we come to you from the Spectrum Center. It's the site of the 2019 ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. This is the 2018 edition of ACC Operation Basketball. And we have with us now Virginia Tech. The Hokies will be with us for about 20 minutes or so. For those on the dais, as we've explained it to other programs so far, we have microphones in the room. If you are to ask a question of our personalities, please make sure we address which of the three you would like the question answered by, and also identify yourself and the agency that you are with. So that said, those are the ground rules. First question from the floor will go to who? We'll go to Frank. It's going to be the fourth row to our right at the aisle.
Thank you. Frank Maloney, Who's Talking, Fox Sports 910, Richmond, Virginia. Coach, last year you did something fairly remarkable, I think. You beat Carolina, Duke, and Virginia in the same season. I think you were 5-4 at home in the ACC, 5-4 on the road. What are your expectations this season with that as a backdrop?
Yes, sir. We're excited about the new season. We're grateful for all of those experience that last season provided. We beat Clemson in that same month. All four of those teams were ranked in the top 20 in the country. We were never ranked at any point, and so those were all great experiences and lifetime memories for everybody that was associated with the program. We're not quite ready yet for game number one, but I think we're trending in the right direction. Our guys have been phenomenal relative to their attitude, their effort. I think our veterans have been as good as any group that I've ever seen at trying to instill our culture, our work ethic, how we want to go about things, our vocabulary. They've been great teachers to the new people, not only players but coaches in our program. And all of us in general are excited for whatever is in store for this year.
Question from the podium for Ty. Talking about the word excited, Ty, your career obviously has stopped, started, and all over again. So you must be really excited for this season.
Excited is the wrong word to use. I don't know what the right word is, but after all I've been through, grateful, I think, is the best way to explain it, is what I am for this season. To still have the ball rolling for me and to still have the opportunity to be out here with my coach and all my teammates, especially the seniors I'm graduating with.
So what's this preseason been like for you? Have you had to contain yourself a little bit, find a new pace? What's it been like?
More like reevaluate myself. Coming into this season, I want to know exactly who I am and what I was to this team. That way I can know exactly what I need to do this season. I want to win. More than anything, that's one thing I haven't done enough of in my basketball career in college is win at the highest level, not just when the tournament starts, but going deep into the tournament or winning more than 10 games in conference is what I want to do. So whatever it takes to do that, that's what I work with my coaches and my teammates every day to make sure I'm doing what I can, especially after being out through so many rough patches, make sure I'm doing what I can to do exactly that.
Let's go to our right, second row on the edge.
Bob Holliday, WL.com. This is a question for the players. Coach mentioned there are some new players. At the same time, a lot of veterans returning. You have 4 returning starters. You have Justin Robinson, the senior, one of the top point guards in the league, great experience. The two of you are grad students, and there are other upperclassmen as well. How would you describe the experience level on this Virginia Tech team, and what does that experience mean in a league like the ACC?
Ahmed.
I think the experience is that we know what it takes to win. We know what we got to bring in practice every day, the energy. I think that the 4 seniors plus KJ, which makes it really 5, is older than a lot of teams in the ACC. So we know that how to close out games. We know what it takes. We know that what Buzz expects from us. We know how to even push our younger guys and teach them little things so Buzz wouldn't have to in practice. And I think that's when, the teams get better along the season.
And our younger guys, most of the time are coached by us, which is the way it should be. You know, a coach shouldn't have to coach the younger guys. We should coach them. He should be coaching us, the older guys, and it should be a chain reaction, starting from the top going down. And when we leave, you know, Tech is still going to be here. We're still going to need to win games, so that's important for us to hand down those lessons while we're here, so Tech has no drop-off when we leave. I know we're senior heavy this year, a lot of experience. Well, there's going to be a different story next year. That doesn't mean it has to be good or bad. It's going to be whatever we make it be. So that's what we're focusing on right now. Winning this year, but not just about us. It's not about our class. It's not about our senior class. It's about Virginia Tech. So.
Ty, you just referred to your coach twice in your response by his first name. So is that part of the culture, or can just graduate students call him that? Maybe freshmen haven't earned the right yet.
I've been called a lot worse. I'm glad they said that.
We call him Coach. We call him Coach Williams. We call him Buzz. I mean, he's our guy, you know. So, you know, one day he's a dad. One day, the next day he's our best friend. One day he's our teacher. So, I didn't even notice I called him. I don't recognize what I call him by. You know, it's all respect regardless. But, you know, the same thing with Ahmed. I might call him Ahmed, Med. I might have a nickname for him. You know, that's just my guy. So it's all family.
It's all family, Coach. 5 years now in, and that's the type of culture you wanted to bring. Are you on schedule with building that family? Coaches always talk about being on a schedule. 5 years in, you about where you want to be?
I'm very grateful. You know, I don't think I never thought that I would have an opportunity to be a coach at all at this level. And I think upon arrival, you know, obviously Med has been with us the whole time. Ty was a part of the true first recruiting class. I think the one thing that I've learned through the metamorphosis of it all is you can have these big grand plans, but there's so many things that transpire that are out of your control. I know both of these guys' life story probably as well as anyone not in their family, and the things that they have overcome prior to arrival at Virginia Tech is inspirational to me. That both of them already have a college degree and have yet to put on a uniform for their first game in their last year of eligibility is just another chapter in the book. I think the thing that I'm trying to be, Trip, maybe more aware of, more cognizant of, even right now, today, is just to make sure that my attitude towards this experience is that of excitement, but that I handle it with the right level of maturity, understanding that they want to win and they want to do right, but also grateful for the relationships. These guys are going to be a part of my family forever, and I hope that they feel the same about me. I believe that they do. But every day we're not getting this day back. This is the last media day that these guys will have, and I know the league is upset that I brought all 4 guys, but because it is family, I can't choose 2 sons. So this is our family, and if it's okay, we'll show up, and if you're upset, then that's okay, we won't come. But Justin and Chris were here this morning, and Med and Ty subbed in for them at lunch, and we're going to do that throughout every game. And so for it to have blossomed to this point, entering year 5, it's more than I could have ever thought.
Let's go back to Bob Holliday, second row to our right.
It's a question for Coach. I've watched your team play a number of times and can't really categorize exactly how I describe Virginia Tech basketball. I've seen you play different tempos, different defenses, sometimes shoot the 3, sometimes take it inside.
Yep.
What do you aspire to offensively and defensively?
Yeah. Do you work radio?
Right now, I've done broadcasting.
Yeah, you have a really good voice. I told one of our freshmen the other day as I was having a meltdown that he has no idea how well he's being educated on life and or the fundamentals of the game. I think sometimes the world goes so fast that we just assume that this is the way it's supposed to be. I think what has happened in my career as a coach is maybe collect as many tools as possible, not only from a strategic standpoint, but as many tools as possible relative to talent. You know who Med was the first time I ever saw him play? That's not who Med is as a player now. And partly because I'm not very smart, I had no idea that Ty Outlaw would be the best high major shooter in the country when we recruited him. So like those guys have morphed into something, in my opinion, that's more than what they were. That's because of their work, that's because of their character. And I think within our program, partly because I'm starting to get old and some of the guys that are on our staff used to be these guys, we always feel like we need to be able to be in a position to be successful regardless of our roster, regardless of an injury, regardless of the style of play, regardless of the locale of the game. I don't think necessarily that there is always a brand of we're running the North Carolina fast break, but that's not who I am, and probably not stereotyping. Those aren't the guys that I want on our team, and so there's not always going to be just this stamp. I hope that one stamp that's assured is we play incredibly hard, we play with little to no ego, and the love that we have for one another is evident if you watch us play.
Question for both of the players. Since Coach has arrived, there's been a new energy in Castle Coliseum on game day. You talk about not wanting to have a drop-off as it pertains to the student-athletes coming behind you. There's also sort of an obligation, I guess, not having a drop-off in the energy in Castle. So is there a responsibility of sorts that you have when it comes to game day and creating that environment in Blacksburg that everybody wants?
Yes. Me and Ty was talking about it earlier down on the floor, where I remember freshman year, it was probably 600, 700 people in the stands, and now the younger guys come in and all they know is that the gym is packed and it's sold out. And when you have to bring your own energy at 12 o'clock on noonday against North Carolina, it's really hard. But nowadays, since we have built a kind of a good culture of winning, and we want to continue, that 12 o'clock games be sold out within the first few minutes of the schedule coming out. So I think that's the most biggest thing, is having the energy in Castle to where you can feed off that energy and play hard, because the way we play is so hard, and it's so hard to maintain that energy throughout the whole game with just us, with nobody in the stands, no energy from the fans helping us. So I think from when sold out games are and the energy they bring, it help us to play our new defense, to play hard, to fly around, to dive on the loose balls, and get rewarded for it with cheering and clapping.
Ty?
That energy starts in practice, though, because there's really nobody in the stands in practice. So we have that same energy in practice. It's not much difference between the game and practice as far as our energy. As soon as the energy drops off, if we don't get it straight, coach going to get it straight. So it's the same in the game. So we just practice that, take it to the game, and can't let it be any drop off, because that's the moment we're going to slip. I mean, coming from junior college where I could count, on a couple hands how many people were in the stands, coming to the 600-700 who were in the stands my first year here, even that was still 100 times more than what I was used to. So to me, a sold-out game is impossible not to have energy. But to some of these guys who might have been a part of bigger programs all of their life, the goal is to learn how to play with energy or not. Well, coming from the stands, that is, making our own energy. Because at the end of the day, we're not worried about who's in the stands. Yeah, we want support, but even if everybody was against us, even if we're in Cameron Indoor Stadium, everybody's trying to rip our throat out, we still gonna have energy. Because we're not intimidated by any of the other stuff.
Ty, Coach mentioned a couple of moments ago that he doesn't feel like the team is ready for that first game, at least not quite yet. What is it that you guys, as a team, feel like that you need to work on between now and November the 9th?
I don't feel like we're ready for that first game either. I know we're going to be ready when that first games come, but right now I think we need to keep working on our defensive principles and taking up space and boxing out, getting those rebounds. We know what we can do offensively. We know what our Achilles heel is. It's been the same story pretty much since I've been here, based on how we play ball. So it's just keep working on those same things.
Coach, as you're looking to build a schedule, a non-conference schedule each year, and you think about the schedule that you want to be on and building a program, how is it that you schedule your non-conference games? What's the philosophy?
I think it'll change with 20 games in the ACC network starting next year. I think you want to make sure, just a general statement in answering that question, you want to make sure that your non-conference schedule prepares your team for the conference schedule. And there's multiple levels of preparation, whether that's on the road, whether that's at home, whether that's a specific style of play that you're playing against and you're playing that team in non-conference for the rep that you need of that style in conference play. I even think, Tripp, some of that has extended with certain programs. You know, we have played a Frank Martin team every season that I've been a head coach in a scrimmage and or a game. So some of that probably is institutionalized regardless of what league and regardless of how many games. And then, you know, some of the opportunities that have been afforded to us have been because of what has transpired during the time that these guys have been here. Worked really hard to see if we could get in Maui before these guys left, and we're in Maui next year. We're not going to be any good in Maui next year, but we're in Maui as a program because of what these guys have been able to do for us during their tenure. So it's a delicate balance, and I think similar to recruiting, the pace of scheduling happens way in advance. I signed 2 contracts for next season yesterday before I left to come here, just because the scheduling is happening so far in advance, and I don't know that I have the right answers on how the 20-game schedule is going to impact non-conference scheduling or MTEs, but I do think it's going to have an impact.
Let's go back to Frank down the aisle to the right, 4th row.
Frank Maloney, Fox Sports 910. Coach, I want to follow up on that line of thinking for a second. When you arrived at Virginia Tech, you knew that you were going up against, internally, the football program. How has progress been made there so that you can secure the dollars you need and the other support so that you can build your program to where you want to take it?
Sure. I've never, that was one of the attractions, to be honest, for me as a person. I love college football. I love football probably more so than basketball. I love coaches in general. I never viewed football at Virginia Tech as a negative or as a competitor. I viewed it completely 1,000% as a teammate. Coach Beamer was over the top gracious to me during his tenure, and really excited about what Coach Fuente is doing in his regime / tenure as he gets Tech going. But I've viewed it as a positive all along. Obviously, Dr. Sands, I think, had been the president for less than 90 days when I was hired, and I think that Whit had been the AD for less than 60 days. And so I understood the magnitude of the decision that they had to make, and I also understood that from listening to them, that they knew that their commitment level to the program was going to have to change. I think from a hierarchy standpoint, I know it comes across maybe in the wrong way. I think the combination of Whit Babcock and Dr. Sands is the best combination of leadership from an athletic department and an institution that I've ever seen. I think they're the best in the country, and I think so much of what has transpired in our tenure, it should always be about the guys, and it always will be, but too much has been made of me or a recruit or a player. We finished in last place in year number 1 for the 4th consecutive year. distinct last place. Like, we need to win in overtime by 1, and if we can, the shot's coming from the deep corner off the backboard type stuff. For us to have tied the largest turnaround in the history of this league, which was before any of us was born, in year number 2 was just unheard of, in my opinion. And then I know you understand the previous 2 years. The last time that happened was 32 years ago. And if we have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament again this year, I don't know that we do, but we have a chance as of today. It's never happened in the history of the school. And I think one thing that I've learned, sorry for talking a little too much, one thing that I've learned through all of this is how important Ty Outlaw's visit was in the spring of year number 1, when I was exhausted after losing more games than I'd ever lost before. One thing I've learned is how important my relationship with Med's mom was when she signed a national letter of intent for him to come to Blacksburg, and he had never been here. But the thing that I've learned the most is the people that never get in front of a microphone, the people whose names are never printed on a roster or in a media guide, how critical they are to the opportunity for a metamorphosis of a program. All of the managers, all of the trainers, all of the SIDs, all of the people that are trying to help, and they're all pulling in the same direction. I really think that that's just as much a part of why we're in this position as anything else. Is not one person, not one player, not 4 seniors. It's not a specific category that did it. It was the collective group that did it. You know, like, hey, we fired the coach and we hired a good coach. That's like super fan ignorance. They don't know. You know, we had the 15th ranked class in the country. We're going to be better next year. That's super fan ignorance. The people that are voting on those classes, they don't know. They've never coached. They've never played. It's everybody pulling in the direction. And I've learned so many lessons from a leadership standpoint during my tenure, way more leadership lessons than coaching lessons. But it's the value of everybody in the program that are washing their clothes, that are helping supply energy every morning at 5:15 when we practice. It's all of the people that are sweeping the floor, that they get one polo shirt, and it's the polo shirt that Dyer's wearing today. You know, like, they're so thankful. And that attitude of gratitude has permeated our program. And I think that's probably what I would say more than anything else.
And that's a great place to leave it. Coach, players, thank you. We'll see you back here in March.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Folks, Virginia's due up next.